Hi guys, hello. How are you doing? Welcome, this is Ambient Zone and welcome into the Space Music Studio in Cyprus. This is video. Yeah, why not? It's Feb 20, 2020 and today it is exactly 15 years ago that I decided to share my passion with you guys, my passion for ambient and electronic music. Now, what better way than to share this with you with a brand new series? Look on your screen. On the lower left side, The Lab, How We Create Space Music. Part 1 is available. I've published it today for Ambient Zone members, for patrons, and I will do the best I can to spread all content the next couple of days to Mixcloud, to Apple Podcasts and whatnot. You will find it, you will see it. Also, as you can see, there's quite a few social media links where to go. We are on Instagram, on Facebook, so I will also make sure that all the content, links to the content, will be posted there as well. Now, before we are going to play this podcast right here, right now, let's go and have a look on the website. This is the site for members via Ambient Zone. And How We Create Space Music is coming in parts. Part 1 is now online. Here's the description, and you will also see the description right here on YouTube. It has been sent to members, to patrons as well. Read it. I hope you find it interesting. I hope you find it very cool to hear what I've been doing the last couple of years, so to speak. Producing a space music podcast is fun, is pleasure. Sometimes it's real difficult to find your way in the creative process, but it's still, the fun is the biggest part of my production. This is not a tutorial about how you should produce a podcast. No, there's like a million ways to produce a podcast. I am showing you my workflow. It's about the creativity. How do I come up with a track list? What kind of music do I play? In what order? And next steps. The recording itself and making sure all the content will find its way online. In a nutshell, this is the story about space music. So, why don't you and I press the play button now? I will press this button down here, and you are going to enjoy part 1 of How We Create Space Music, available for everyone interested in ambient and electronic music. I now have to push some buttons here, bear with me, I hope it's going all right. So, here we go. Hi guys, this is TC, and I'm sitting in the studio here. And at this moment, I am compiling the tracks for the new Space Music podcast. In this episode, in this special occasion of a series, I will introduce you to how the podcast is made. The Space Music Podcast. Now, over the years, there has been a couple of workflows, but I think the workflow I'm following at this moment in time is pretty much the best way I can do it. So mind you, in this series, I will not tell you the one and only way to produce a podcast, of course. There's so many different ways, and there's so much software out there, and you can do it like in a million ways. But I prefer the method I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna let you hear, because I stay very close to the source, that is the music, the tracks, the artists, and the final result of a show, without losing any control. Every single ingredient has my attention. That's what this series is all about. How we create space music via the RSS feed of The Lab on Mixcloud, Patreon, Apple Podcasts, you name it. So let's start. How we create space music. And as for so many things in life, not without my coffee. Just a moment. Oh, I just made some. So you will notice that this specific episode, this how the Space Music podcast is made, I'm recording this totally live. I'm not editing out stuff later. I've set up a... what did I do? Can I check it in the preferences of Ableton Live? Ableton Live is my digital audio workstation, my DAW. And I'm recording everything there. The final result is processed there. It's everything. The DAW is the central nerve system. I'm working on a Mac, and a Mac has this fantastic ability to, as a user, you can set up a so-called aggregated audio device. Now, for me, as a Dutch guy, it's a very difficult word. I even need to look up if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Is it an aggregated device? Een samengesteld apparaat? It's a device where you can add multiple audio sources. So, for instance, if you are using an audio interface, you plug in a microphone into that audio interface. How to record the microphone? Well, you have to check in your audio preferences in your DAW that it will be recording from the audio interface, correct? Okay. But what if I would like to record not only from the audio interface, but also from, let's say, applications like iTunes or Spotify? You have to combine them into one device and then select that device in your DAW as the recording source. Sounds simple, isn't it? It is. But you have to be careful, because when setting up such a device, you need to centralize the clock frequency, the sample frequency, and such things. Let's not go really into the details right now. I will guide you. Let's go step by step. But anyways, this podcast is now recording, and it's recording 3 sources. Source number 1, the microphone, which is quite handy. Source number 2, Spotify/iTunes. The music you hear now in the background is coming from iTunes. My voice is coming through the audio interface, the ID4 by Ambient. I also have a third source set up, and that's the QuickTime player. QuickTime player? Why do you need a QuickTime player, TC? Well, I can load tracks there on the fly. Whenever I want to hear both iTunes, a track in iTunes and another track, for instance, I can just play them side by side. And it's quite fast, it's very simple, but it works. So for instance, let's grab an example. You now hear a track, this one, and it's on iTunes. My next track that is queued in my iTunes playlist is Rise Again by T.R. Jordan. I can grab it from iTunes, put it on the desktop, and open it up in the QuickTime player, which I'm doing right now. And oops, what's that sound? Shh, Oot, what is this? Whoa, recording on the fly, TC. You see? Something unexpected is happening, and I have no clue why. Let me double check my clock source and such. No, it's ready, it's good. But we have an audio glitch. By opening up a QuickTime player, I messed it up. And once it kicks in, you have to stop the recording and start again. Just a sec. I think we are back in business. QuickTime is not the most perfect solution, but I've set it up for this podcast and see what happens. It's just not what happens usual, ladies and gentlemen, but nice to experience such crackling sounds and stuff going on. Yeah, that's one of the things you might encounter if you're doing productions audio-wise. Software will be software. And QuickTime, after all those years, it's still like a heavy load for your machine. It always has been. It's really, honestly, a strange app. Let's keep on moving here. Where was I? So I'm having three sources. I'm having my microphone, I'm having Spotify and iTunes, I'm having QuickTime, and of course preparing a space music podcast. That's what we are talking about. Now, if I scroll back here, this track. This is fantastic deep dark ambient. And I'm having this thing on my mind to see if I can play the track by T.R. Jordan after this one. So I've collected the T.R. Jordan track. It's also in this track list, but I need to audition first if the two tracks go well together. Because I really don't like it when you are mixing a show, when you are playing tracks and after one track another track starts and it's like a different tone, it's like a different key that really doesn't match, different kinds of instruments going on. Man, you're out, you're done. You're like, okay, am I listening to the radio? So I prefer having smooth transitions, and there's only one way to find out, and that's taking one source, one track, and start playing the next track and just hear if they match. So here we go. This is the end of, let's call it track number 1. Yeah. Let me pause that. And this is the other track by T.R. Jordan. It's on the QuickTime player. Let me skip a few seconds. The most important part is the first minute of the new track. hear the chords, I keep it in mind. I play the end of track number 1 again. That's this one. This is the way it ends. I'm playing iTunes and now I'm playing QuickTime again. I play with the volumes. This. I can fade out track number 1 and I can hear that track number 2 is adding things. It's continuing the story and it will open up. So we have a storyline here. And this is very important for a good mix, that you can tell a story and it's not only playing tracks back to back, but something is happening there. Now, the trick is that you have to find, that for me, I have to find tracks that tell a story. Now, since Space Music podcasts last for, well, I think back in the days we started at 30 minutes, 45 minutes. These days they are like 1 hour. It's not really a must, but I like to do shows of an hour, 50 minutes till 60 minutes. So there is great opportunities to tell a story. Does that make sense to you? I hope it does. I'm preparing track list that includes a total story. Tracks answer each other. Let's say we have this one. Let's continue now. And let's say I also would like to play the new Pat Kista album on this new Space Music 12.3. And Pat has delivered some amazing experimental ambient music. And I've put them in a track list and they sound like this. And they sound like this. But also in my track list there's Fuel. The Fuel release Outside the Dream World is a fantastic one. Now, what you immediately hear is the key of this track. If I grab back the Variable Star by Pat Kista, and now I go to the last part of this track, let's say the last 1 or 2 minutes. And now here's the moment again. I would like to know if it will match the beginning of Outside the Dream World. And that's why I grab it and I open it up on QuickTime. So this is Pat Kista. And this is the next track. So they match extremely well. They are even in the same key, but also sound-wise, the story continues. If I was about to do something like, let's go back to Pat Kista. And if I was about to play, let's say, the alpha wave movement track right after this one, it would sound like this. You see? This is bad. And this is alpha wave movement. It doesn't make any sense. While at the same time, these two tracks are wonderful tracks, but I can't play them back to back. Doesn't make any sense. Yeah, here we go. Because this sounds like this is the next chapter of Space Music 12.3. It's a next topic, a next subject. You can't play them back to back. So, and this is the key for me. I try and find, let's say, 10, 15 tracks that all breathe kind of the same atmosphere, the same vibe, if you will. And then I go and mix and shuffle and play first this one, go throw the other one to the back, back and forth, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes the magic happens, but it's not a guarantee. This track list for show Space Music 12.3 took me about 20, 30 minutes. Tops. And then I had the right order. And if you look into the order after Pat Keista's variable star, we go and play Outside the Dream World. Where is it? Here it is. Skip forward now. So the story continues. Outside the dream world is quite static. So the longer you hear it, the more you want to hear an answer, like something opening up. Release us from the tension, and then this happens. It's The Leap of Faith by T.R. Jordan. Because this has to happen. And if I look to the track list, we're now playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But there were more tracks in the playlist, but this is like a conclusion for this chapter, if you will, within 12.3. And then I decide to go a bit experimental and play the circular runes, for instance. And after one track of the circular runes, we go crazy and play the next one. I really like experimental ambient music, the darker side, if you will, but without an entire show becoming like a real dark ambient for 1 hour, which I have done in the past. I think it was Dark Fader, which is a beautiful episode. Don't get me wrong, but after all the experimentations, let me skip forward here. It's time that the theme for show 12.3 is coming back to us, to our ears. And now you can hear that the alpha wave movement track makes sense. I couldn't do it before, but now I can. Let me skip forward alpha wave movement a bit. You hear it? That's what I mean. We can slowly say goodbye to the experimental track, and we have entered paradise. In a nutshell, this is how I spent time finding the right order to play the tracks in. And of course, before that, I need to find the tracks anyway. Where do I get them? That's the question. Well, over the years, luckily, I have many contacts, and I'm on mailing lists, and new releases mailings come in. Some very close relations, good relations. Spotted Peccary recently is now the official supporter of Ambient Zone. Spotted Peccary releases are just brilliant. They are beautiful. But there's so much more. There's so much more labels and artists sending their demos, their new releases, TXT Records, Project Records, Hard Dance Records. I get individual emails by artists, musicians. Instagram is a perfect place to meet each other and to share music. And yeah, it's really incredible. Until like 1 year ago, I wasn't doing anything on Instagram. But these days, man, you've got to be on Instagram if you're into the music scene and building contacts, networking with other musicians, producers, labels. It's super, because we all have the same goal: airplay. Grow the ambient electronic music scene. That's our goal. That's what we love to do, and what you like to hear, what I like to make. That's our ambient space music world.
Welcome to Ambient Zone, your #1 electronic music station.
Space Music 12.3 is counting roughly 12 tracks and a total playtime, and that's why I like iTunes. You select all the tracks, and down at the bottom of the screen you see 12 tracks, 1 hour and 19 minutes. I always pick more than 60 minutes because I know for editing reasons and fade reasons, I will lose playtime. So my goal is always to collect like 70, 80 minutes of great music that goes so very well together. Of course, show 12.3 has become a real ambient show. 12.2 is more with the grooves and the beats and stuff, and then it's very cool for me to decide what tracks I will play. I'm even willing to throw in some jingles and some snippets, and I don't mind the key that much. So you can do more variations during the total playtime of the show. So. Spacemusic 12.2 is about 14 tracks, and it was a challenge to combine it, because though it might seem that I pay a bit less attention to the key, just go and listen to the entire show and you will agree, key is everything. But there's absolutely the fun of more variation, and I like beats in combination with the real ambient tracks, and it's like gliding through a landscape. And 12.2, of course, snowy mountains, Mount Olympus in Cyprus. It was 100% inspired by the magic white landscape up there in the mountains in Cyprus. Because let's not forget that inspiration is causing all the creativity. Without inspiration, without good music, without nice and beautiful things around you, it's almost impossible to create a beautiful show. Music coming from Spacemusic 12.2. Bright Skies. The best place to save all content, track lists, info sheets is, in my eyes, online. So, what a coincidence. Ambient.zone offering all the shows for members and having everything up there. And of course, in this series, we will talk about how all this content is made and what it takes for publishing the end results, the final show. I hope you've liked this start, this first episode of the series, How We Create Space Music. Next time, I'm going to talk more about next steps, because having a track list is great, but now what? We need to do some serious recording. Not only recording the musical mix, but also the show itself. And how do I make sure I can combine everything I want and create that typical space music sound. Join me next time for part 2. Thanks for listening. Cheers. Yes, that is the podcast. I hope you have enjoyed it. And as I mentioned, it's out there. It's at this moment, it's on Ambient Zone, it's on Patreon, but soon it will be available on Mixcloud. I will publish it on iTunes, Apple Podcasts. And I'm sure I'm forgetting some channels at this moment because I'm watching the faders, the meters, the knobs, the buttons. I hope you can still hear my voice. Yes, I can see some lightning here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Please post some comments down below in the comment section. And keep an eye on Ambient Zone TV. This is only the beginning. There's more coming. There's more content coming because I'm going to put the spotlight on artists that we play on our show. And we are going to talk about their releases, play some of their music, and you'll love it. And it will be streamed live, hopefully, on YouTube. If not, it's going to be awesome recordings just like this to get the live feeling. So keep an eye on the channel. Please hit that subscribe button and the bell so you know exactly when things are happening. My name is TC. Thanks again for watching and listening and supporting Ambient Zone Productions. Have a cool day wherever you are. Cheers. Bye-bye.